Happy Tuesday, Feeling Things. I'm Amy.
And I'm Kat.
And today we're getting into something really important. Feelings aren't facts.
Ooh, that is good.
It's good.
And also, addition to our feeling of the day,
Because we know we're going to do that. Yeah.
we are going to do an email of the day, which we need a jingle for.
But it can't be. It can't
email
be.
of the day.
No. If it's feeling of the day, we need a new one for email of the day. So we'll just have to, let's do it in the moment, I guess, when we get to it.
Oh, okay. We're not going to do it now.
Well,
The
okay.
jingle.
The jingle I think we do the jingle when it comes up.
Okay.
When it's time for the email of the day. Plus, I need to kind of think about
I feel pressure.
Yeah, because it feels natural to just go, email of the day, which maybe we will, but
Maybe we'll find something better.
yeah, we'll find out. Before we get into some of that, though, did you hear me talking to myself when you got to my house?
Which you do often.
Oh, you noticed that I do that a lot? Oh, okay. Well, I feel good about that then because I was doing some research on it. Well, I came across something about internal dialogue and also just talking to yourself, whether inside your head or outside your head. So externally talking out loud.
Yeah.
And I was saying stretch, I got to stretch because I need to remind myself to stretch more because I'm trying to take care of my 80-year-old self. So 44-year-old me needs to stretch for 80-year-old me so that I'm not in a nursing home. Shoot, maybe even 70-year-old me because
That'll keep you out of the nursing
keep me
home.
out of there.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was reminding myself to stretch, but stretch now has a double meaning because ever since you told me about the stretching versus compromising in a relationship, I not only want to stretch my muscles and tendons and ligaments, but I want to stretch in my relationship. I want to also compromise, but I think there are certain things where I need to do some stretching, and my boyfriend needs to also stretch.
Yeah.
And it's such a good little nugget of wisdom. And I think you got it from your therapist, right? Yeah. Okay. So I want you to share it with everybody.
This is passed down therapist to friend. I was talking to my therapist one day about how to compromise. I needed to be better at it. Sometimes I struggle with that because it feels like sometimes it feels like you're losing or it feels like you're giving up or whatever. And she said she likes to think of those kinds of things as you're stretching in a relationship. So you doing something that you normally wouldn't do or that you normally wouldn't want to do is more like you stretching some of what you're comfortable with, stretching your boundaries sometimes, stretching what you're used to. And I just loved that metaphor of where can I stretch more versus what am I giving up?
I like that. Yeah. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
It's helped. It's like a slight change.
It
that
feels more
will
positive to me.
help your relationship tremendously.
I'm going to grow versus I'm shrinking. Compromise sometimes just feels like you're shrinking. This feels like I'm becoming more. And you both get to do it.
Yeah. We're stretching over here. Lots of stretching. But sometimes stretching is a little painful. Just actually physically, I can't bend down and touch certain things. I'm like, oh, my hamstrings are really tight. So if you're trying to add this into your relationship at first, you might be like, oh, this is uncomfortable. This feels weird. This doesn't feel very positive. But the more you do it, the easier
better
it'll
it
get.
feels.
Yeah. So the study that I saw about talking to yourself, I'm going to share it with you now. It sharpens cognitive function. It's from Bangor University, which I don't know if that's how you say it. Maybe it's Bangor. It's but Bangor University just sounded better.
They say
Bonjour. Bonjour. But it's in the
You're in
UK.
France now.
It's in the UK.
Bangor set.
Bangor. But it's a prestigious university.
I know, that's why I feel like I want to say it correctly, not Bangor University.
I looked it up because I felt like Bangor University wasn't giving us much cred, but it was founded in 1884, dedicated to academic excellence for more than 135 years. It's one of the oldest and most prestigious degree awarding institutions. Bangor University acceptance rate is around 56%.
Oh,
in case you're curious about admissions.
Stuff you didn't think you were going to learn.
Bangor.
Bangor. Yeah, that sounds prestigious, not
I know,
Bangor.
but in my internal dialogue was like, Bangor University. And then it suddenly wasn't feeling that credible, but it is. So they did this whole study and found that verbalizing thoughts improves focus, speeds up problem solving, and boosts memory. Participants who spoke out loud while searching for objects, like, where are my keys? I can't find my keys. I'm so stupid. Why do I lose my keys all the time?
No, I don't think you get to say the last part.
Okay, don't talk to yourself like that. But if you talk out loud while searching, you are 50% more successful in finding whatever it is you're looking for.
50%?
That's what it says.
Okay, we got to start doing that. This is also, I was started to laugh because you said it helps with memory. That reminds me of, what's the movie called? House Bunny, when she's like, Amy. You don't know what I'm talking about?
I don't know that I ever saw House Bunny, so
Okay,
I love how I'm like, Kat, have you seen the classics like Dirty Dancing and Pretty Woman? And you're like, no, but I've seen House Bunny. What?
It's also a classic. Okay, with Anna Faris, I'm pretty sure she's in it. I don't know. Okay, I thought everybody would know this.
No, but does
Okay.
she have an internal dialogue?
So she is this person. I don't remember most. This is all I remember from that whole movie. This is the only thing I remember. Is when she meets somebody new, she says
She says their name like that?
says their name like that. And then she's like, sorry, it helps my memory. So when she meets somebody, if your name was like Courtney, she'd be like, Courtney.
Oh, I wonder if Bangor University has research on this.
They probably got it from Bangor University.
Probably.
And that's why they put that in the movie. And now okay, if you did that with people's names, you would never forget them.
Yeah, and they'll never forget you. Never forget you. They're going to be like, okay. But the research continues.
Okay.
It also suggests that internal dialogue is a sign of strong cognitive health. Historical geniuses like Albert Einstein were known for practicing this.
You're just like Albert.
Yeah. But my internal dialogue is probably not like his. His was probably like ME squared equals, what is that?
It's so funny that you said that.
Y equals ME. And mine's more like, you stupid idiot. I
2 +
highly
2
doubt
= 4.
Albert Einstein ever said
Oh, you
stuff
don't
like
know.
that. But self-talk helps, again, emotional regulation. Oh, no, this isn't, I haven't even said this stuff yet. Emotional regulation reduces stress and improves decision-making. Maybe I did touch on that. So there you go. Talk to yourself. But some people don't have internal dialogue, which is crazy to me. It blows my mind when people are like, no, I don't really talk to myself. And I mean, they're smart, intelligent people
Yeah.
too. They just don't have a lot of conversation with themselves.
Which would be interesting of how do they journal? And also, I guess I'm curious because I don't know a ton about this, is the difference between internal dialogue and you talking out loud. That's not exactly the same thing.
Well, you can practice. I think you can say it out loud, and you can also practice internally having a conversation with yourself. Because I think that's what Albert was practicing. Because you can have internal dialogue that you're not even asking
Conscious of,
for.
yeah.
It's just happening. Like,
Yeah.
I think you and I both have a lot of that. But I guess it's like if you don't have it as much, or you're trying to be real intentional with something, you are like, okay, I'm gonna have lots of thoughts right now. Let's really talk it out in my head. So it's being intentional with it.
Okay. I like that. That's good stuff that we can use already.
Shout out Bangor. All right, let's do the feeling of the day.
Okay.
I'm excited to get this to
The
this
what?
one. Oh, sorry. The feeling of the day.
This like we're on some kids show that's like, come on, kids, it's time for the what?
The feeling of the day. Gather round.
It's just like my dream to be on Barney when I was little. So maybe that's like,
This is your
yeah.
version
Did
of
you
that?
watch that?
I was too
Oh, you're
old. I
too
missed
old?
it. Yeah,
No.
Barney
I went to Barney
got
Live.
popular. You did?
I had 4 different Barneys.
Oh.
Yeah, a talking Barney, Santa Barney, regular Barney, and mini Barney.
Well, your feeling of the day is confused, and now I'm confused by why you had so many Barneys.
I loved Barney. He's was my best friend. I also had all of the VHSs in my closet. Stop it! It's not weird. It sounds weird. It's not weird for a little kid to be best friends with Barney.
Right. Yeah, I know, but I'm telling you, I missed it.
Although
I missed the whole
yeah.
Barney craze.
Well,
Like,
what was the show that, like, what was the kids thing when you were? They had kids shows when you were a kid. Did
Did
you
I watch Saved by the Bell?
That's not a kids show.
Yes, it was. I spent every Saturday with Zach.
When I was with Barney.
He was my boyfriend.
Wait, also, I remember when I moved. This is a side note. This is the ADHD coming out. When we moved to Tennessee in 2nd grade, I went to my class. I was a new kid, and they're all introducing themselves. And one of the kids was like, "And we don't like Barney in here because that's for losers, or like something like that's for little dorks or something. And I remember going home and being like, Mom, what am I going to do? Like, I'm not allowed to hang out with Barney anymore. He sleeps with me every night. And then one time my babysitter came over. He was putting me to bed and he handed me my Barney.
He?
Yeah, he was a guy. Is that weird?
No, it's fine. I'm not into male babysitters, but that's just me.
He was I think he was the older brother of my brother's friend.
Wow.
Is that weird?
It is for me. I just wouldn't do it. But I know people.
I thought he was cool because I thought he was cute.
I'm sure.
But I didn't think it was cute when he handed me my Barney. And so I threw it out of my door and I said, I don't sleep with that.
Yeah, don't be ridiculous. I don't even know where that came from.
They probably ran back out and got it after he left.
And he's probably like, well, you have 3 more of them lined up.
You have all the VHSs lined up in your closet, so.
Yeah, no, I know that that's a hot topic of
male babysitters.
Is it not a hot topic? Maybe because you had one, but I never had a male babysitter growing up, and I've never hired one. And I don't know if it's just because I have this conceived thing. Like, it's conditioning, and I'm not saying it's right, but I just err on the side of like, that's okay. I'm good.
I guess it's not like my mom solicited for a babysitter. It was like a family friend.
Yeah. Still into it.
Okay.
But maybe I do have some personal stories with people growing up that I know, and that's not fair.
Yeah.
Because there are amazing male babysitters and
I think
caregivers and nannies, and
a lot of things are different than they were back then. Like, people don't do sleepovers like they used to either. So male babysitters and sleepovers are out.
I don't know. Is it weird that I have a very strong feeling around that, and you've never encountered someone being like, oh no, I don't do male babysitters?
I guess I don't talk about male babysitters a lot with people, but I don't think it's weird because if you had different experiences and you know stories, I had a completely different experience. I had that. So I don't think the same thing because we grew up in different environments.
I know. Well, we have determined we have like now 10 male listeners, and I don't want to offend anybody, especially if some of them babysit.
Yeah. Whatever makes you feel comfortable as a parent.
Yeah. You just have to vet and do your own research and trust your gut.
I definitely wasn't sleeping with my Barney when the male babysitter was
the hot
I don't know that I would have called him hot as a kid. I would have said he was cute.
Okay. Yeah. That's more appropriate. Yeah. Okay, feeling of the day. Confused.
Okay, so while you're confused about this, I was on Instagram the other day and I saw this, I guess it was just a post that said, hey, it was a therapist-minded account. And it said, what are some things that your therapist has done that gave you the ick? And before I read all of it, I think I even sent it to you and I was like, oh, this would be interesting. And then I started reading it and I was like, this isn't really funny. A lot of them were like very inappropriate.
So it's surpassed ick. It's
yes. Where I'm like, this should not be giving you the ick. This should be like red flag, got to get out of here.
Right.
Like an ick is just kind of like, that's weird, but whatever. I might be able to move through that. Some of these were crazy. So I was feeling confused about this from the perspective of, because I am a therapist, it would never cross my mind. I'm sure that I've done a lot of things incorrectly. And I'm sure I've given a client the ick before.
Oh man, I wish you could do some sort of an email blast to all your clients and just be like, have I given any of you the ick in any way? And we get a report back.
First of all, I don't want that feedback. Second of all, they'd be like, like, what kind of email is this?
They'd be like, red flag.
Or they'd be like, I've been waiting for this.
Or maybe you just send it out to people that have not returned.
So what was it that I did that gave you the ick and you never came back?
Well, so what were some of the things?
I wrote some of them down, and then what I also did is I took some of them, because some of them I wouldn't even want to share because I don't want people to be that afraid of therapy. But then I put a little question box on my Instagram and asked people, and I'm going to read you a couple of them. And I'm also curious if you have any too, but let me read some of these. So one was, this got me. My therapist was knitting during our session.
Okay, I've thought about this. My first initial thing that popped in my mind is, you know how sometimes you doodle? Do you ever doodle and you're actually able to pay attention more because you're doodling?
Yes.
That works for me.
100%.
So I'm curious, does this therapist knit in order to better pay attention?
So that is very kind of you to think that way. I do if I'm listening to something like a lecture in school, I always had to doodle or write notes or something else. I would totally be in space. So I get that. As a therapist, though, that comes off. If I was doodling during my sessions, I think that would come off like I wasn't really paying attention to them, even though it would help. So if I was going to do something like that, I would think it would be fair for me to let my client know, like, hey,
out of the
this
gate.
is what I do.
Yeah. Like I'm the best therapist ever, but just so you know.
But I am going to color while you talk.
Yes. Okay. All right. What's next?
Yeah. So I would encourage to not knit. Therapists ate lunch during my sessions.
Okay.
Like,
you have to eat on your own time.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also, what if it smells and
Oh no.
you know?
Yeah. I can't have an odor.
It's one thing if you're eating lunch with your therapist and that's part of the therapy. The therapist is like, oh, if I have a busy day, like, it's weird. Held a therapy session virtually from a bar.
Oh.
Which is HIPAA.
That is really weird.
You can't do that. You know? Like, what would you... I've had clients try to do a virtual session in an inappropriate spot, but for the therapist to do that...
So, like, if I wanted to do it from a bar,
you
could... No, if I wanted to do therapy from a bar...
You can't.
Why?
HIPAA. You're not in a private...
But I'm the person.
I know. But even as... If I'm doing a virtual, there are some people who, when they do virtual sessions, they make you, this is like the best practice. You're supposed to make them give you a 360 view of the room so you know nobody else is in there.
Oh, I have never been told to do that.
Well, most people don't do that. That's like the best practice, but it's kind of awkward.
Okay.
So
no bars for
no
anybody.
bars. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's also like not an environment where I think that speaks for itself. Okay. This one I do have thoughts on. Therapists yawned a lot. Has your therapist ever yawned?
No. Why do you yawn a lot?
Never?
Hey, I guess I'm not boring. I keep my therapist on her toes.
Well, sometimes I'm yawning, but I'm not tired. I think sometimes...
Yeah, yawning doesn't mean...
It's like getting air
tired.
into your lungs is what I've learned. Is that is. But sometimes you can't help it, and it's more distracting when you see somebody be like try to not yawn. Then I'm just yawning and moving on.
Yeah, but if my therapist were to yawn when I'm trying to talk about something, I would be like, I would be mortified. Yeah. I know that it's not bad, but I would just be like, oh.
Yeah, maybe I don't have that because my therapist has yawned too. I don't have that experience because I also have the experience of yawning during a session.
Now I need the yawn.
See? Get it out. You have to get the real one out.
I tried to get it out as much as possible because it's not good to hold in yawns.
Now I have to yawn.
If you hold in a yawn, I know there's a thing. Like maybe Shannon can look it up for us. Like I talked about this on the Bobby Bone Show the other day because he told us we can't yawn anymore. And I said, Bobby, sometimes I'm not, because it throws him off and then it makes it's not a good vibe for the room. But I'm like, if I have to yawn, and it may not even be because I'm tired. Yeah. I just need to yawn. So maybe I need to have that same grace for my therapist, although I've never had my therapist yawn before. Well, but I guess if it's virtual, you can just like duck down out of the screen. Be right back.
I need to plug in my computer and then you just go to the floor. I'd be interested in what the contagious of yawning is. We got to figure that out.
What do you mean? Like why
it's contagious?
Yeah.
Because I could see that being a problem at the Bobby Bone Show, because if you yawn and then Bobby's yawning and then whoever else is, and then it's like a big yawn fest. Okay,
so holding in a yawn can lead to buildup of pressure and a feeling of needing to yawn even more. While you might not be able to fully release the yawn, suppressing it can cause the need to intensify, and then that just gets worse. But I know there's other things. Like if you hold it in, there's other things.
You might explode.
No.
Your eyes will pop out of the socket.
It can manifest as other stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll get to it. Keep reading others and then we'll read it.
Okay. So here's another one. Laughed at me when I explained one of the worst nights of my life. Which it's like, I don't know how that, I'm interested in the context because.
That's why I couldn't be a therapist. I'd probably.
But you can sense when somebody's telling a story and like, you might tell that same story and you would think it's funny. And then I could laugh with you. if I also thought it was funny. But if somebody's explaining to you like a traumatic event, it's never clicked in my mind to laugh.
Oh yeah, that would be hard. Yeah.
Okay. This is interesting advice. Told me that men are like dogs and they need to be trained.
Oh.
It's just a funny thing for yeah. I'd be like, okay. What do you mean by that?
And
how
you
do
go
we train
home
them?
and you're like, tell your husband,
Sit.
well, my therapist told me you're a dog and I need to train you. So I got you this shock collar. Okay, if you don't yawn, it can increase your heart rate, your blood pressure, lead to anxiety, nervousness. Like if you hold it in, that feeling of like the inner, something has to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. And so you also could become irritated.
So my aunt, who's a doctor, she's not a doctor, she's an ER nurse. I remember her saying, and I've just taken this as fact, that yawning is just your body trying to get in more oxygen.
Okay.
So that's why I've not felt as bad when I've yawned, because I'm like, oh, I'm just trying to breathe, you know?
Yeah.
We'll
I'm
see
not tired. I'm just trying to breathe.
That's what I'll say next time. Okay. I just have a couple more. This one is answered a text on her laptop and I heard the sound when it sent. So that's probably on a virtual session. Here's another thing. And this is a clue. If anybody who is in virtual therapy or is a therapist and does virtual therapy, you need to be very careful of what glasses you're wearing, because you can see the reflection on especially blue light. The reflection is so clear. So if you're texting, I can see it. Or you
get a pic.
If you get a pic, I also get the pic. So just be careful with that. One is showed me a picture of her kids in Halloween costumes in the middle of our session. I got a lot like that were like just gave me too much personal information, which I understand there's a fine line there. But the best one I got came from CryoCat. I knew it. She sent me when I said like, what's something that your therapist did that gave you the ick, she just sent in, disagreed with me.
Oh.
I was like, yeah, that's not great.
CryoCat doesn't want to be disagreed with.
She's like, I'm never coming back here.
But does a therapist like say you don't agree with your client? Like, how do you say, like, do you say, I don't agree with what you're saying, or I don't?
It would depend on what it was.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So there's ways to, like, there's an art to disagree with somebody, and also there's art to share your insight, even if it doesn't match up. But there's a difference between that and somebody being like, I'm going to go, ruin 10 years of sobriety because I'm pissed about blah, blah, blah. And me being like, this is not a good idea.
Yeah, like I can't support this. I don't agree with that.
Yes, versus something else where I'm like, oh, I can see why you would want to do that. Can we look at this too?
Yeah.
Cat's like, I don't want any of it.
Cat's like, don't disagree with me.
And that's why you're going to therapy, to be affirmed.
So that you're not like my way or the highway. So just to wrap up the yawning thing, I have more info.
This is never going to end.
It has multiple potential causes, including, tiredness, which is the obvious one, boredom, which we think of, but stress and brain temperature regulation are another reason why you yawn. And the exact purpose still debated, but those are just some of the reasons. And it's generally accepted that yawning plays a role in regulating the brain temperature, though, and increasing alertness. So you can now say, I get that I yawn, and you may think that equals me being bored or tired, but actually what I'm doing is just increasing my awareness. And if I were to hold it in,
you wouldn't be getting the best of me.
Yeah, then I'm not aware of anything you're saying.
So when you have your first session with your client, you talk to them about your yawns and you talk to them about your doodling and your knitting.
You're yawning and you're yarning.
That's in the informed consent at the bottom. FYI, I will be yarning and yawning.
Well, so let's say that I do have a therapist that does some of this stuff. Yeah. Like I haven't encountered any of this, but let's say that I do. Like what do people do? Do they run and find a different one, or can they confront or get curious about what's happening?
I think that it is normal for your therapist to do more than one thing that you are not obsessed with, right? That you shouldn't take everything your therapist says as gold or everything they do as the standard. They should be trying their best to do the right thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I'm also paying you
Right.
to.
Well, so it's good practice though. I think because in the therapeutic room, you're practicing how you want to show up outside in your real world. So if your therapist does something, I say this in my first sessions with people. I don't talk to them about yarning and yawning. But what I do say is if I ever say something that you disagree with or you don't like, or if I make a face, because you know me and my faces, that doesn't feel right to you, I want you to be able to bring that to me and share that with me. Or if we do something and it just doesn't feel right and it feels like I'm pushing you too hard, I want you to be able to come and bring that to me and let's talk about that before you just like run for the hills, because that could be a way for you to practice speaking up for yourself, empowering yourself, having healthy confrontation. If I'm uncomfortable by the confrontation, you don't have to worry about it. That's my job to deal with my own stuff. So I encourage people to bring that up before they leave or are like, I got the ick by, because that could just be reinforcing a habit you have in your real life where you avoid anything that's uncomfortable. There are things in here that I would say, this is a red flag. You got to go. It might not even be worth the conversation.
Like the virtual from the bar.
Yes, that is so crazy to me. But I mean, even the knitting, I think I would say like, hey, I'm just curious. Is this a normal thing you do? I feel like you're not listening to me.
Yeah, I'm confused by this.
Yeah.
Which one of the gifts of confusion. So if you're feeling confused, the gift of that, I think sometimes we can be annoyed that we're feeling confused. Like, like I don't like not understanding what's happening. But we love the gifts and the impairments of our feelings. And the gift of confusion is a sign that you're learning or growing, you're paying attention. It invites curiosity, reflection, and a deeper understanding. Like, help me understand why you're knitting.
Yeah.
And it humbles you and keeps you open to new ideas. So confusion.
If you allow yourself to really be confused.
Yes. And if you don't allow yourself to be confused, the impairment can lead to just feeling frozen, not doing anything, self-doubt, which also leads to frustration. So don't leave it unchecked because it can block decision making and
this can be
help you start avoiding things,
right?
And avoiding challenges instead of getting curious and leaning in.
Yes, that. Or I think we are used to, in general, I'll speak for myself. I'm used to like first thought is judgmental and I'm going to make an assumption about it versus, that is interesting. Let's get curious about that and ask a question. And this helps you practice that. And I actually did have a therapist say something, not the one I have now, but the last one I had, she said something that it really did not sit well with me. At first when she said it, I laughed along with her. And then I got home and I was like, that really actually kind of hurt my feelings. So I went back and we talked about it. And I went to 3 or 4 more sessions with her. And then those similar kind of comments kept happening. And so I got enough information where I was like, maybe she's not for me. But I did go back and try to address it versus run away.
Ooh, that's a good way to lead into how feelings aren't facts. And you can even collect data with how you're feeling. Because sometimes if you just go off an initial feeling, you have to understand that your feelings can't be in the driver's seat. Annie F. Downs was on my podcast several years ago, and something that she said that stuck with me, and I don't know if she credited it to anybody else, but I just remember her saying it. She's like, I like my feelings to ride shotgun. I want them to be near. They're very helpful. I want them to be by my side, but I don't want them in the driver's seat. I do think that you can pay attention to your feelings and collect data. And then that is fact. It's like, okay, I was feeling confused by this and I decided to start evaluating things, taking some notes. And this happened 4 times in a row. So I'm no longer confused. Like this, now I have clarity.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty clear that my confusion, which was a signal, like it wasn't a stop sign. It wasn't like, you have to stop, but it was a signal for me to like
yield,
pay attention.
And that's what icks really should be, is like yielding. Like, let's pay attention to this. But I think the feelings not facts is such a helpful thing to integrate into your brain.
Oh, so good.
Because even you've said a couple things where like, even we're using that for Albert Einstein when you're like, I'm so stupid. Where are my keys? I always lose them.
Right.
I feel so stupid. It's like, okay, well, you aren't stupid.
I may feel stupid in that moment, and I shouldn't talk to myself that way.
Yeah.
But the fact is, I'm not stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not stupid.
And everybody loses their keys. So feelings are not facts. I can have an experience, even like I feel like I'm going to die. Doesn't always mean you're going to die. That might just be, if it's super, it could be a trigger from something really traumatic, or it could just be an experience like a roller coaster or something like that. Like, this isn't actually happening, but I am having a feeling that reminds me of that.
Yeah. I have a metaphor.
Are you going to share
that?
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you wanted to hear it, but
I always want to hear a metaphor.
Feelings are like weather, real and present, but not permanent and not always accurately predicting the climate.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That's good.
You loved that, didn't you?
Yes. I like the not permanent too, because also.
And sometimes you check, think of how many times you check the weather app and it's like all over the place. It's like, you can't trust it. And it's like, that's why you don't want them in the driver's seat. They cannot be trusted. Because if you start to really adopt the fact that you're stupid or whatever, then that's going to be a driving factor. And that's going to be a filter through everything that you do. So you just need to set that in the passenger seat. But not that you even give it that much credit, but it's like, get curious. Okay, why am I feeling stupid right now? And then unpack it that way. What's the core?
What's the root? Have you ever had an experience where you had a feeling and you wanted to go do something right then, and then you waited and you completely changed your mind?
Yes. Yeah. Oftentimes that, I would say every example I'm thinking of in my head has to do with another person and some sort of confrontation where maybe I want to say something in that moment and it would feel really good to say it, but ultimately it would be bad.
Yeah.
So I need to pause and give myself that space so I don't, especially in our romantic relationships. I think oftentimes that happens more quickly than with not, because we also feel safe with our romantic partners, or at least we should. And then we end up.
Well, even when we don't feel safe with them, and if it's maybe a more of an unhealthy relationship, I might have this feeling where I need to go do this right now or say this right now or X, Y, Z. But if I take a beat, do some self-soothing, a lot of times I will want the opposite, where like, oh, actually, I don't need that. Do you have something coming to mind?
Keep going. Yes, I have something.
Well, I was just going to say.
For a coffee mug, for a t-shirt.
Oh, share it.
Soothe first, solve later. Keep going.
Can it be a screensaver?
You can make it whatever you want.
A Brett?
We don't even have any merch. We have no items, but we have lots of things like soothe first, solve later.
What was the other one? Fear is not weakness, it's awareness.
Yeah.
Soothe first, solve later. You heard it here first. Better trademark all these. Anyway, I think that I said what? We're going to have 50 trademarks.
Yeah, and I'm sure other people have said them.
Soothe first, solve later. Nobody's said that before.
Really?
That's the title of a book.
That's basically what you were just saying, though.
But I didn't clock it.
Okay. Well, I clocked it when you were saying it.
You're in charge of that department.
Finish that thought, though.
Well, I think that was I think I did, where if you're in an unhealthy relationship, a lot of times the thing that we want to go do is to act in the dysfunction, right? If I am acting in maybe some insecure attachment, and I need to go to that person to get my soothing, or I need to go confront them or ask this or do whatever. If I soothe on my own, do some self-soothing, or with a safe person, could be an hour, could be a day, however long, I then could come up with a different solution to that real root of the feeling. Because that feeling could have been saying, hey, this is actually, you need to get out of here. But the intensity says I need to go into it. Does that make sense?
Well, it's a good time to bring up like reasons why our feelings sometimes lie. So you mentioned past wounds. That could be one of the reasons. Abandonment, different triggers, anxiety, stories we tell ourselves, like, oh, I'm the problem narrative.
It's me.
Misinterpretations of other people's behavior. Like someone being quiet equals, oh, they hate me. And that's just a story that we're telling ourselves.
It feels like they hate me.
It feels like they hate. Yes, because the fact is they likely don't hate you. I don't know. Maybe they do. But tips and tools. We gave soothe first, solve later. I only say that because I always feel like so many people, I'm like, oh, why don't they like me? What have I done? what did I do wrong? And
But-
it's like, really, I've done nothing. They're just quiet.
Well, in that moment, it feels like you need to do something to fix it, but like take some time, and it might be like, okay, I can accept that maybe they're just quiet. Maybe not everybody's going to like me. Maybe I need to work on me being confident versus needing affirmation.
Yeah, you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
No, thank God.
Put that on a teacup.
Screensaver. Oh, I want everything to be a screensaver.
Yeah, I'm like, what? That seems a lot easier because you just type it in and make it a screensaver. So that's probably why. So we did soothe first, solve later. That's a tip and tool. You can also name the feeling before believing the story. Sometimes it's hard to name the feeling, but if you can pause and really name it, that can be helpful.
I'm feeling insecure. I'm feeling scared. I'm trying to go off of they really hate me.
Yeah. Rejected.
Feeling rejected.
Yeah.
And maybe you aren't being rejected. Okay.
I mean, and you can feel rejected
Yeah.
versus are you being rejected though?
Well, so the feeling's always valid. You can't help and I think we're getting into like story. This kind of crosses the lines of when we're talking about this. I feel stupid isn't a feeling. So I can feel like something. That's a story. That's not a feeling. The feeling underneath that might be I feel insecure. And that feeling is always valid because we cannot, I think the feelings are always valid gets misinterpreted sometimes. They're always valid because you can't help what you feel. It doesn't mean that that story is actually true.
Yeah, or that
that
you shouldn't try to work through it.
Yes.
Because I'm with you on that. Even with myself, like I need to remember, I've got to work through this. Like just because all feelings are welcome and I want to feel them and they're valid doesn't mean that I have just this excuse to run around with like all these feelings all the time being crazy.
Well, we're in charge of what we do with those things. So we're in charge with our response. So I think that, yeah, if you were feeling insecure and if you were feeling rejected because somebody, I don't know, what'd they do? They gave you a face.
Yeah, or they
they're
looked at me
quiet.
funny or they didn't talk to me or like even just using the example from last week when we talked about my boyfriend and am I wanted? Like I had a story through certain things that were happening at times that like, is there space for me here? Am I wanted? Like I'm feeling rejected at this moment. I was feeling that way, but that wasn't fact.
He wasn't rejecting you.
He wasn't rejecting me and I was wanted. There was another story happening. But if I had really wanted to put my feelings in the driver's seat, I could have just broken up with him that moment.
Yeah, but this is another tool. Did we already say check the facts? Like that's part of the conversation you had is like, I'm checking the actual facts versus going off of what this is telling me.
Yeah, you can also talk it out with someone that you trust. So I would call you and I'd be like, actually, I think I did try to call you when I left there. And I'm like, and this is what happened and this, and it's like, okay, you would be a sounding board for me or even, everybody in this room, Cryo Cat, Shannon, like can be a sounding board of like, okay, first of all, those are your feelings. They're valid. They're welcome here. However, let's fact check this a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we could talk through it. And then that's part of my soothing too. Because then I'm getting information from safe people and I'm not disrupting my relationship by trying to, because even talking it through with that person, even though he's a safe person, if I'm not calm and soothed, then I may not get to the end result as fast.
And you might be stuck in the story versus really trying to have understanding.
Yeah.
So once you talk that out with a friend or a therapist or something, you can, that's similar with what I did with my friend when I was saying that we, was that on this episode? I'm getting all mixed up.
No, it's Couch Talks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it
when
was
I was
last Thursday's Couch Talks.
Last week when I was talking about my friend that I had that lunch conversation with around our conflict, if I would have gone to her before I talked that out with somebody, it would have sounded so different. And I don't know if we would have gotten the same result. So if I was able to kind of come into like okay, I am valid for feeling this and let's look at all the other pieces. I've had somebody validate me in that as well. And then I can share that with them. It sounds different versus me running in like a bull and being like, you made me feel this way. You owe me.
And that's when she would say, I can't make you feel anyway.
You are learning so well. Good job. Okay.
We're mental health minded over here.
Yeah, we are. Put it on a teacup.
Mental health minded. Okay, so feelings matter. They're all important, but they're not the ultimate truth. And you got to collect the data.
Yeah.
Data, drama,
Collect
Take
the
your
data,
pick.
collect the drama.
And data is great and all, but sometimes just drama is a little more fun and easier. And I will say I gravitate more towards drama at times with my boyfriend, and it's so annoying because he does not take the bait. He does not take the bait. He doesn't want any part of it, and he doesn't even make a thing of it. He's just calm and patient, and he's just like, this too shall pass. Like he's sort of like, so, what did you want for dinner? Or what did you say? Or, okay, well, I guess I'll talk to, like, he's not even being dramatic about it. He's like, I'm just not going to even, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Stop. And then I'm like,
So
gosh,
healthy.
dang it. So healthy. I'm going to catch him though. I'm going to get it.
Okay.
So I'm joking.
I will say,
I'm joking.
I
You know what riles him up though?
when you say I'm gonna catch you one day, you're gonna take my bait.
No. But if people don't like follow through on something, or like things don't happen the way, like
the plan.
like if the plan is not going according, or people are,
Can you change the plan?
yeah, okay, so yeah, like stick to your word. Like this is the plan. If like you said you're gonna, but he's not like a stickler on time. It's not like that. Like I keep thinking about like other relationships I've been in where it's like, you said it was gonna be 5 minutes and it was 10. He doesn't get worked up about that, which is awesome. Because like I have
You always mean 30 when you say 10.
because I have time blindness. It's
Yeah.
it's part of my disorder. What do I have?
ADHD.
Yeah. Is that a disorder or a dysfunction?
There's disorders in the name of it.
Okay. Yeah. Attention deficit disorder.
Yeah.
So I have time blindness. It's part of my disorder.
Okay.
Okay. So he has a lot of grace for that, which is awesome. I love it. Even though he's generally on time, he's pretty patient, and it's cool. We would not work if that was not the case. And where was I going with this story?
What gets him going about?
Oh, yeah. So like we were on a shuttle, like the airport shuttle, and it was full. There was only one seat left. There was 2 seats left. And then he ended up letting another person on that was like running late. And everyone was already squeezed in, and the luggage thing was full, and everything was full, and we're all hot, and everyone's just trying to get to their car. And the driver probably shouldn't have stopped, but the other person got on, and it was then tight. So now there's like one little tiny sliver left and no luggage room. And everyone's again trying to get to their car. Well, another person comes running up, and the shuttle guy stops and opens the door and looks back at us. He's like, do you think we can make room? And Alex is like, no, we need to go. Like, because it's no longer going to be safe. Like he was thinking through, like, do your job. Like, I don't know why you're trying
to ask us.
But I was like, oh, we should try to make room, because what if that was us and we were coming up and we wanted to get on and like we just missed it. And he's like, yeah, but you just missed it and it's full. And now you're going to come in and sacrifice comfort. And then where does the luggage go? So then it's like a safety thing.
Is it he's a rule follower?
I don't know that it's that he's a rule follower, but it was like
Also, I think that would bother me.
But the way he responded, like I'd never seen him get so like.
Oh, I wouldn't have said anything.
Me neither. I said, stop that right now. I was like,
don't I have needs or opinions?
Yeah, but no, he wasn't the only one. Like everyone, except for maybe me and one other person. Like I just sat there.
Off. He can have my
and
spot.
I was like, here, I'll sit in your lap. Like it's gonna be fine. But everybody else was like, no, because we had already stopped for that other person, and it really didn't make sense. I guess I'm just saying that now I know what really ruffles his feathers. Because I said, well, what would you have done if he just made the decision to bring the guy on, like to let the other people on and not even asked us? And he's like, well, I would change services. Like, that's fine, but I'm no longer going to use you anymore. And I was like, wow, you're very passionate about this. And he had a very logical reason. He's like, that's not how you do business, because you have all of us where we got there and we waited. They now have to wait for their shuttle. This is how a business is run, and you want to keep your customers happy. And then the other people, they're going to have a problem with waiting. People wait for shuttles all the time. He's like, in fact, we just waited 5 minutes for this shuttle, and now we're trying to accommodate and get all these people on. Either maybe this guy doesn't want to do another lap, or maybe he wants more tips, which, okay, but you can't make other people uncomfortable to try to accommodate one other person. So I understood his business mind. And I mean, he straight up was like saying, I'll switch companies.
Yeah,
I will no longer park at this person's place. I'll go park at that person's place.
had in my head he was like leaving the 99 to save the one kind of thing. Is that how that goes?
I don't really know.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
Is that not like the Jesus will leave the 99 to save the one?
Oh,
That's like a common to say like,
yeah.
it's the reverse. It's reverse because he is such a kind, caring guy. But in this area, he's like, no, this is business. This is how you run things.
Right.
Which normally I would be, but
biblical. This is business.
Put it on a t-shirt. And also that
is a shirt.
Yes, it is. But you're the opposite where I feel like you would like always look out for the one outsider. And so I just think that is interesting. I am like him where I will get like that too.
Shout out Shannon. We have the Bible verse.
What's the Bible verse?
Okay. Jesus will leave the 99 to save the one refers to a parable in the Bible, specifically Matthew 18:12-14 and Luke 15:4-7, which illustrates God's love and pursuit of the lost. The parable of the lost sheep. So you were talking about the
Easter?
Sheep.
Yes. It was did I not say sheep?
You didn't.
Oh.
You just said 99 and 1 and now that I have the sheep, I've got reference to.
But wasn't this on Easter?
God. That this happened?
Yeah.
It was.
So maybe that was Jesus driving your shuttle.
What if? You know what? I'm going to tell him that.
And he got mad at Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus took the wheel.
Yeah. Jesus take the wheel. That is so true. I'm going to bring that up.
Oh.
I know. I don't know why he got so worked up by that, but I do get.
I get that.
But everybody, he was like, look, I wasn't the only one. And I said, well, here's the deal. If you want them to act all like, no, drive, no, that's fine. You let them. We're not going to do that.
We're not participating. I'm big on efficiency, though, and that's not efficient business. I think,
as is he.
I would be like, I would say, I'm never using this service again, and then I would probably use it again.
Mm-hmm. So the parable of the lost sheep depicts a shepherd who leaves 99 sheep to search for one that has strayed. This is definitely very different.
No, it's the same thing.
Demonstrating God's willingness to prioritize the lost over those who are already safe.
He was lost and he needed a ride, and you guys were already safe.
He wasn't lost. He needed to wait for the shuttle.
I don't know. I think Jesus was driving your
Guess where we are now? Guess what we've gotten to?
The email of the day.
I don't think we need clapping because it's a little much.
Okay.
But like that's better than like I had like
okay, well you do that and I'll do the email.
Email
of the day.
Do you know what I was riffing off of that? Like wow thing.
Oh, I didn't get that at all.
Wow
you
thing.
Make my heart sing.
Okay, so we have feeling of the day, and now we're gonna do the email of the day.
I like your other one better.
Should we just copycat feelings of the day?
Email
of the day.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. And now it's time for the
email
of the day.
No, you said it differently last time. You said.
I did?
Maybe we can have everybody in the room vote. You said of the day. I like that. That was kind of catchy.
All right. And now it's time for the
email
of the day.
I don't think that was right. Can I just say it and then you copy me?
Okay.
Now I'm nervous. My throat's getting tight. Email of the day.
So I'm going to go of the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you sing well?
No.
Okay.
Why do you think that I do?
I think that you could.
No. See, I've thought before that I could.
I also think that I could, though.
Like, so. I feel like I could, and that's why feelings aren't facts.
Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Email
of the day.
No, you're coming too fast.
Okay, sorry.
Did you notice it? Okay,
go.
You have to give it like a beat, like email, boom, boom, of the day.
Okay. All right, ready?
Say the boom, boom in your head.
All right.
Ready?
Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sweating. Email
of the day. I did the boom boom in my head.
Let's do it one more time.
Then you changed.
I'm going to get close up.
Take it from the top.
She's like in the sound booth being like, we need Kat's vocals, one more. Amy's, we're going to dial those down a little bit. We're going to put auto-tune on Kat, and then we're going to hit it.
I want one more.
And we need more of the snapping.
Okay, you can snap if you want.
Snapping's better than clapping.
Okay.
Because clapping can be like loud.
I got excited and nervous, and that's why I clapped.
Okay, you're just like a cheer. You're like, give me an E.
I was a cheerleader.
So was
at
I.
one point in my life. We don't know how it happened.
Same.
I looked at the thing that, it's when we had to like go to the school and see the list on the door. I looked at my name and I made it and I said, I think this is wrong, which probably wasn't the nicest thing to the girls that didn't make it. And they're like, oh, you should be happy.
Yeah. Okay. All right, here we go. We're snapping.
You have to say of the day. Practice it on its own.
Okay. Of the day.
Perfect. Okay.
Of the day.
I think we should snap. It would help you. So I love that you kept practicing of the day.
And we're going to do this every
Of the
week.
day.
So we'll get faster. We'll get faster.
We're never going to get to the email.
We will.
Ready?
And now it's time for the
email
of the day.
Your snaps are different than mine, but I think that's good, right?
Are we snapping before or are we snapping?
It's snap. It's like a boom boom in your head. You're just
ready?
Snap. Ready?
All
Set,
right.
go.
So, and now we just go, okay, guys, it's time for. Do I say
Okay,
the?
no.
Do you want me to say the? We talk that part.
Okay.
All right. It's time for the
Email
of the day. Dang, we did it. Okay. 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 All right. I want to
Now
do it
we'll
one
get
more
to
time.
it. Oh.
No. Okay.
Okay.
All
One more
right.
time?
We have gotten to that part where now it is time for the
email
of the day. We did it.
did it.
Okay. That snap is better than boom boom in my head. That helps me. Snapping helps me. Okay. Oh, dang. We got to set it up again. Now we flow right into it. No laughing, no
We're doing it
celebrating.
again?
Well, yeah, because we have to go into the
I'm
email. We just have to, we do it and then we go into the email.
Okay. Well, you have to be ready to go into it, right?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And now it's time for the
Email
of the day. Hey, me and Kat. This one doesn't need to be anonymous.
Okay.
My name is Eva. I think it's Eva or Eva.
Do I need to answer that? Or did you answer that yourself?
I answered it myself. My name is Eva, and I've been listening to the podcast since it first started as 4 Things with Amy. This last Friday, I had a mental breakdown and called out of work. After dragging myself out of bed at 11, I decided to pop on my headphones and listen to Feeling Things while making a batch of cookies. Good thing I hadn't added the salt yet because the salt from my tears for sure did the trick. My husband and I have been trying to get pregnant for 5 years, only being successful once, but it ended in a miscarriage. I also have MS, which has recently started flaring up, and the only option to slow progression is to go on medication, which is not ideal while you're trying to have a baby. Needless to say, I carry around shame like it's my best friend. Feel for her. Hearing you guys talk about your fertility struggles, guilt, and shame helped me more than you'll ever understand. Thank you for the reminder that I'm not a failure. Thank you for making me feel not alone. So thankful for both of you and the podcast. Your friend from Republic, Missouri, Eva. P.S. The cookies turned out awesome.
I'm glad you read that and not me.
So thank you, Eva. Well, I was able to get through it. And the only way I got through it, I was like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. So I was like, Eva. Her name is Eva.
Yeah. But I'm thankful for those emails like that. I think when I read that, I was like, oh, we got a couple like that. And we've said this before, I'm sure, but sometimes it feels like we're just talking about nothing. So
Yeah.
it's helpful for us to hear from you guys, knowing that even though we do silly things like our jingle, there's things that are helping you guys for real.
Yeah. They're real parts
Yeah.
of our lives that like we're able to open up and share it with our close people, our friends. But this podcast gives us an avenue to help reach anybody that, might just be popping in their headphones to listen to a podcast and then suddenly they feel less
Not
alone. And
then getting those
seen.
emails
Helps
we
us feel that
we
way.
alone,
Yeah. And two, you opening up, especially publicly with some of that stuff, like this is the beginning of your fertility journey. So even for you, I'm just so proud of you for opening up in the ways that you have. Because also it's a fine line of like you're, a therapist and navigating like how much of your life you share because you've got clients that may listen. And anyway, I was proud of you when you opened up and how you have opened up and how you're navigating that. And I know that you're, again, starting this journey, but I hope these emails show you too that you're not alone. And
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now I
Eva.
have
Eva,
we're all in this together in my head.
Oh, I have forever, ever.
Wait, that's
Under my okay,
Umbrella,
so that's
Ella.
Rihanna. But back in the day when that song came out in like the 2007,
Yeah.
2008 or something like that, she was like we were playing it. We were in pop, so Rihanna was someone we played all the time. Like that song was always on. So for like a year, I was singing it wrong.
Well-
I thought she was saying, well, the title of the song is Umbrella.
Yeah.
So obviously she's saying under my umbrella, Ella, Ella. Right.
Right.
But
Wait,
I
I'm
thought she
trying-
was saying under my arm forever, ever, ever, and yeah. So that's why Eva, forever.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
That's where I was going with it. It's
Under
just
my
like
arm forever, ever.
And then
Honestly,
one day Bobby was like, Amy, you know the title of the song's Umbrella. Like she's talking about being under her umbrella.
wait a second. Your words are better.
Under my arm forever.
I think
Ever.
that's
Well, but the title of the song would have to be like,
under my arm forever, but I think that's
Yeah.
a better that's more. Why are you under
no,
that?
I feel like umbrella is a little
umbrella.
more creative. It's like,
Oh,
under
because the
my
metaphor
umbrella.
and like the rain is falling.
Yeah.
When the rain falls, pours, I'll be all you need and more. That's in there. So that yours wouldn't make sense.
Wait, so can you sing?
No. However, I feel like my parents would have put me in voice lessons as a child. I would have been good. I think I could like
Okay.
if I wasn't like tone deaf and I knew how to like use my
your diaphragm?
my diaphragm. There are some songs that sometimes I'm like I hit it.
Okay.
You know.
That's funny you say that. That's how.
I think I'm a star too. Yeah.
I used to record myself. Sometimes I'm like, Catherine, keep this inside of your head, but I already started. I had a 6-hour drive to and from college. And this is back when I think I had like a BlackBerry or something phone. I would record myself singing "Bleeding Love" by Leona Lewis
Oh.
on the
I think
top
I
of my
did too.
I keep bleeding.
it's
I
Sagittarius thing.
Yeah.
Keep
Bleeding
bleeding.
stars.
Love.
Yes. And I used to always sing the national anthem everywhere I went. And so my family would like ask me to sing it for them like on their birthdays.
The national anthem?
I think because they were making fun of me, not because I was good. I also always sang, what's that song, that Christmas song? It's not Mary Did You Know?
Faith Hill, Where Are You Christmas?
Oh, that one. Oh my God.
sing
I'm
it.
good at
Oh,
that.
Yeah.
And then Proud Mary, I'm really good at. That's the thing.
Like you're really good at, or you think?
Weird thing I'm good at.
Yeah.
And it's a whole thing in my family. And that's the one song I wanted to play at my wedding. My dad asked the band to play. I asked the band to play. Guess what song they didn't play?
Proud Mary?
Proud Mary. Guess
Huh.
what song they did play? All the Bruno Mars songs we said
Umbrella?
do not play. They probably did play
I
Umbrella.
wonder why they did. I mean,
Don't ask me. I
because
paid
like you're
them.
paying a band a lot of money. That's weird.
They probably didn't want me on the stage
Yeah.
because I would have been on the stage.
Yeah. True. Well, fun fact about me with
Breath
the
of
national
Heaven.
Oh,
Do you know that
I
song?
don't know that song.
Breath of heaven. Okay, don't judge me on that. I'm nervous.
Yeah, you're really good.
But they sang that
It's
every
okay. Everyone stopped listening once we started singing. It's fine.
when I started clapping, they stopped. They played that every year at the Christmas Eve service for my at my church growing up, and then we would come home and I would sing it for my family.
Oh, I'm sure it's lovely.
I'll send you a video next Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like I shared too much. Should
No, we're good.
I'm
We'll
feeling
wrap.
some shame.
Don't. This is a safe space.
Okay, thank you.
Kat, where can people find you?
On Spotify.
Oh. Where's your music? Where can they download?
I was like, laugh at my joke.
I didn't get it at first.
Thank God
I
for
was like-
Shannon.
I thought
What?
I thought I was being witty,
no, you were.
but I could barely get it out.
You were. In my mind, I was already like thinking like, okay, she can like tease like Instagram. Like I thought you were thinking like, oh, our podcast is on Spotify. It's on iHeart. It's on wherever you listen to podcasts.
I was thinking of my recording of Bleeding Love from 2006.
Yeah. It's not on Spotify.
It's not, I'm sorry.
Dang it.
If you follow us on Instagram, though, I can send it to you directly.
In the DMs.
Okay, stop.
We are at Feeling Things Podcast on Instagram. Kat is at Kat Van Buren.
Yeah.
And I am at Radio Amy. And we would love to hear from you as well for Couch Talks. Hey there at feelingthingspodcast.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also leave us a voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
877-207-2077.
I was about to say that.
We're not going to sing it.
We'll spare you that.
We'll spare you that. Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you guys are having the day you need to have.
Thought we were going to say that together.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's start over.
No.
I hope you guys are
Having the day
you need to have.
Okay, bye.
Bye.